right, back to the courthouse now, where former President Trump's criminal trial is set to resume soon. Let's bring in Alina Habba, Trump legal spokeswoman and general counsel for the Save America PAC. She joins us outside the New York State Supreme Court. Alina, we had Paul Moreau on our air earlier this morning, and one thing he said kind of stuck with me. He said, just judging from what we've been talking about, which really is not the substance of the case, which is, a documents bookkeeping issue. He said it's an exercise in dirtying up the former president. And I want to know, how, from your perspective, how do you undo that?
You can't. You cannot undo that. It's like unringing a bell. We're all human beings. And whether you give a limiting instruction at the end, whether you move for a mistrial and it's denied and then move again and it gets denied again, it doesn't matter. Once the jury hears something, they hear it. They can't unhear it. That's the issue that we're facing here. And yes, you're right. The one thing we have not heard about is how President Trump, who was sitting in the White House, has done anything wrong. How this has anything to do with books and records keeping from Trump Tower by a person who works in accounting that never even spoke to the president. I'm still waiting to hear the case. Instead, all I hear is a lot of fluff and a lot of election interference, frankly.
We made this point with Judge Jeanine Pirro a moment ago, but I wanted to get your take on this as well. You wonder, what does Stormy Daniels' testimony really have to do with the issue at hand in the court? Susan Nicholas, in cross-examination, said this to Stormy Daniels. Am I correct that you hate President Trump? Stormy Daniels responds, yes. Susan Nicholas, you want him to go to jail, right? Daniels, I want him to be held accountable. Nicholas, you want him to go to jail. Am I correct? Daniels, if he is found guilty, absolutely. And I'm wondering, is Stormy Daniels so concerned about the charge of accounting fraud that she wants him to go to jail? Or is she just a witness that has a total amount of animus toward this president, this former president, based on other issues that have nothing to do with the matter at hand in this court?
Well, as you know, she's still on the stand and she's still under oath. I'm an attorney for the president, so I'm going to be careful in watching my words. She will continue. She has obviously completed her testimony, and I'll let it speak for itself. Like I said, we're not hearing a whole lot about what they claim to be charges, probably because there aren't any. There are no facts to support this claim, and it should be dismissed. Look at all the taxpayer dollars here that are being wasted while New York is falling apart. You cannot make this up. The only thing I can tell you is the election is 6 months away, and don't think that this doesn't have something to do with that.
So I want to ask you, too, because you're an attorney, right? So, you've got 34 alleged felonies with a maximum penalty of 136 years in prison. And there's, the dispute at hand is whether the categorized payments should have been legal expenses, difference between being inaccurate and being fraudulent. How does that factor into the criminality here and whether we might see a shift to a lesser charge?
I'd hope so. Look, it's up to the jury ultimately. Right now, I don't think if you're saying that the prosecutors or the DA are going to bring a shift to lesser charges, like DA Bragg has frankly done to 50+% of New Yorkers. He's chosen not to bring charges, but I'll tell you why I don't think he'll do that. Because the person in there is the leading candidate for the presidential election. Because his name is President Trump. How do we know that? Because he chose not to indict President Trump. Actually, DA Vance also chose not to indict Trump. When did they? After he said he was running for office. There is no question what is going on here. They are absolutely not going to lower the charges on their own accord. I can assure you of that. The only hope we have is that the jury sees this for what it is. It is a sideshow. It is a show to maintain that President Trump cannot be out there campaigning. And guess what? He's beating them while sitting in a courtroom. That speaks volumes.
So this morning when the president was entering court, he again talked about the gag order, which he sees as wholly unfair, and he announced this. Listen here.
I'll let you know that we've just filed a major motion in the appellate division concerning the absolutely unconstitutional gag order, where I'm essentially not allowed to talk to you about anything meaningful that's going on in the case, and many good things are going on with the case. It shouldn't have been filed.
You've appealed the judge's gag order to a higher court, but here is something that I guess Trump supporters would say really does buttress the underlying sense that the gag order is completely unfair. Michael Cohen was on TikTok last night. He was raising money. He was sitting there in a T-shirt that had a picture of Donald Trump in jail, and he announced a run for Congress. How is the prosecution's star witness allowed to say anything that he wants, and then the former president is not allowed to respond?
Because we have a dual system of justice and a very unconstitutional gag order. As his legal spokeswoman, I'm nervous about what I can't say, and that's also unconstitutional. The fact that they will not let a defendant speak and exercise his First Amendment rights, never mind the leading candidate for president, that is un-American. It violates his First Amendment rights. And yes, yesterday we filed something in the appellate division to appeal this completely ridiculous order. Hopefully the appellate division will see that it is unconstitutional, as we say it is. And the American people definitely already do.
Alina Habba, we will continue to watch it and hopefully have you back with us again soon.
We'll let you get some lunch and get back in the courtroom. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.